Hello students, Ms. Slyman here, and now we're looking at proof by mathematical induction. And this one's really nice because we can link it to a bunch of topics that we study, and there's a lot of TOK topics that it connects to. So first let's talk about two different types of logic. We have inductive logic, which will connect to our proof by induction, but there's also deductive logic. So inductive logic is where we conclude a general hypothesis after analyzing particular cases. So our particular cases here, we're looking at specific cases. So an example of inductive logic is if we draw many pairs of lines and do some measurements on them. So if I do something like this, now I don't have a protractor on me, so I can't measure this exactly, but I know that this is definitely an obtuse angle, so I'm going to say it looks maybe like it's, I don't know, 135 degrees. And because I already know this about angles, I would know that that would mean that this angle here must be 45 degrees and 135 and 45. But an inductive argument would have us measure all of them first. So we would measure them all, we would repeat that many times, and then we would draw conclusions. So my conclusion would be that opposite angles are equal and angles on the same line add up to 180. So going from specific into a general conclusion is inductive. Deductive would be if I started by drawing my pair of intersecting lines and this time label all the angles with general letters. So if I go this way, I know that in this case I would already know that the sum of angles in a line is 180. So I could set up four different equations. So I could say, for example, that A plus B is 180, B plus C is 180, C plus D is 180, and A plus D is 180. So based on these, if I did some sort of subtraction, I would end up finding that, for example, if I subtracted these two equations, I could then conclude that A is equal to C. Similarly, I could conclude from these two that B is equal to D. So when I start in the from general hypotheses and then lead that to a specific case, that's deductive argument. All right. So there have been many theorems proven already that we can use. Angle sum theorem, sum of the angles is 180, quadratic formula, Pythagorean theorem, all of these we've used before. And so we're going to use this potentially with our inductive proof, but to examine that further, we'll look at that in our next example.